Thank you for joining me in my presentation on a differentiation process and a differentiation project. I took a normal PowerPoint presentation that was pretty good and am going to present it using Google presentations so that you, my audience, can share any comments that you have, any feedback, any questions on the Google site. It is open to the public. My project was based on the Alaska Common Core standard that addresses 5th grade and their 5th graders' understanding of figurative language. I created a rubric that I presented to the students before, they used during the project, and I graded after. And in this project, the students create pages with examples of figurative language, and the rubric judges the use of figurative language, the students' organization, originality, the attractiveness of their pages, and of course mechanics, grammar, and spelling. I was pleased to integrate a lot of technology in this project. We used Edmodo to administer the pre-assessment. We used Edmodo to deliver some examples and also to collect the final pages. There are some really clever YouTube videos that are available at the end of this presentation, and some neat smartboard notebook files that are available for the public that can be used also to deliver instruction. The students use screenshots and scanners to collect their images and get them ready for publication. They imported everything onto Comic Life. They used iPhoto and learned how to edit photography and collect their media there. And for the final project, we created an iMovie altogether that was in a technology book that could be used to teach the next grade as they learn about figurative language. This is what the quiz function on Edmodo looks like. This is prior to the test, and the black lines on the left are where the students' names are, but they're blacked out. And essentially, I just asked 3 questions. I just asked them to enter or type in a short answer. What are any elements of figurative language that you know? What do you think figurative language is, and why do you think it is important in writing? So by the end, I could circle back around and do an assessment again and see what the changes were. Here's a chart of my classes, or my experiment with my class. The gray is the pre-assessment scores. All my students, with the exception of one, scored 0, where they really had no idea what figurative language was, except for one student. And at the end, when we did the assessment again, they all scored well, except for one student who just missed one element. But pretty good, pretty successful. The project was really about promoting creativity. Within the confines of the project, the students were allowed to use they could use photography, they could hand draw elements, they could take different programs that were out on the internet and available on their computers and do screenshots and turn those into JPEGs. And I'll show you in a minute, they can also act out, so they could do some video or photography of them acting out their element that they chose. After the students had been shown examples of different elements, they were encouraged to find more examples on their own. So they looked at different examples on YouTube. I had other student examples for them. They could do wiki searches or internet searches just to give them some ideas and really have them understand what the different elements were and what they meant. In my class, I've got a lot of different abilities. I have students who have all different levels of technical expertise. Some learned just how to scan their hand drawings and import those into iPhoto with a little bit of editing. I also had students who already knew some something about photography were able to use the camera and import photos. They were able to help each other out. There are different elements in figurative language, of course, so the project automatically allowed for more complex thinking depending on what element the students chose. I allowed the students to work with partners. All my students opted to work alone. The students also supported each other with peer reviews before they published their pages. As far as assessment and student learning goes, the teacher initially assessed the students. This way I knew how to tailor the lessons. During the whole process, I monitored during brainstorming, during their drafting, and during their final page completion. They gave each other feedback. I gave them feedback during the process as well. The students had the rubric the whole time, so they were able to self-assess to ensure comprehension of what the expectations were. And then, of course, I used the rubric at the end to give final feedback. And then I did circle around, like I mentioned before, using the Edmodo quiz just to have another check to make sure we had progress from the beginning of the project. In this first example, I had a student draw their draft, and you'll see this student changed. This is a needs improvement example. It had some spelling and grammar errors. And this student gave her work to other students in the class. They gave her some feedback, and her needs improvement example then turned into my moderate example. So her sentence was "Purple puppies play poker with a pipe" for alliteration. And in her previous page, she had things that were misspelled. She decided to change and find some purple puppies and illustrate her example using photography that she found out on the internet. So this was really a well-organized example now, and it had a good sentence definition. All the elements are there, so this is a good example. My high-level example, this student had already gone through peer review, got some suggestions, and didn't just do one example, but did 4 different examples where she had a stuffed animal act out 4 different similes and had sentences for each one. So this student had really a high level of creativity and really went over and beyond my expectations since she did 4 on one page. So really good example. The student book The student book can be found on YouTube. Let's see if I can get there. I embedded it in this presentation, but it doesn't seem to want to work. Let's see if we can get this to work. So the student book was organized with all the student pages that they created on Comic Life, and was organized by the elements that the students chose. Again, the whole idea is that this book will be used again to present to the upcoming class so they can get a head start on what figurative language is. You can see on some of these, I'll just show a minute or so. On some of these, we've got photos that are embedded on different Comic Life pages. I've included the link directly to the YouTube site so you can go and view the class book or use it as an example if you like. and the address is both at the bottom of this slide, at the top of this page with the URL, and also at the end of the presentation. As far as resources go, at this end here, I've got some links to different YouTube sources. This is a really cute one on onomatopoeia, similes, metaphors, hyperbole, understatement, alliteration. These were some of the sources that I used that I found really helpful and engaging to the students. And a couple of Smartboard sources, 2 notebook lessons that can be used as well. The Smart Exchange is really helpful for lessons that are put already together by other teachers, and then you can modify them yourself if you have the notebook software. On my blog, The Differentiation Diary, I've got the entire step-by-step lesson plan laid out, a la Understanding by Design, so it is backward planned. All the resources are on there, and it's laid out for anybody to grab and alter as you see fit. Hopefully this will come in really handy for anybody who wants to do a really fun, simple lesson and differentiates the process. The students can use different elements of technology to access this project and differentiate the end result where you can allow students a different access to creating pages and understanding the elements of figurative language. Thanks for watching.